Hi, it's Dr. Rowe speaking to you from Byron Bay in Australia. It's a beautiful evening. I don't know if you can just catch the blue sky. If I do that, you might see that it's blue. There you go. Let me get it back on me again and focused on me. I think that's probably the most important thing. Okay, so why am I doing this video? Well, one of the subjects that coming up a lot at the moment is stress. How to handle stress. And Dr. Rowe, do you have any tips? Okay, so I have 4 tips for you, 4 takeaways from this video. And I thought it would be really appropriate to video this now because I'm here in Australia, in Byron Bay, one of the most chilled places you can ever be. I mean, we're talking about I'm surrounded by meditation centers, yoga centers, organic food everywhere. People are eating naturally, holistically. It's just incredible. So I thought I'd do a quick video for you now, and I'd get a pen out if you can and make a note of this. 4 takeaways, 4 important things to take away from this. How to handle stress. Okay, so number 1, please write this down. Stress. See the situation that you're in, no worse than it is, no better than it is, just as it is. I can't stress that enough. One of the things I've learned to do over the years, working with all the people I do interventions with, coaching with, mentoring with, is that when they get into a stress situation, and this happens to all of us, myself included, often the worst thing to do is to get really stressed by focusing on the worst case situation. So no matter what your circumstance right now, if you're feeling overwhelmed, and we'll come to that in a minute, one of the first things to do is to see it as it is, and don't blow it up, don't blow the proportions of it any worse than it is. So for example, people will say, oh my gosh, I'm getting really stressed at the moment because my boss has told me I need to do X, Y, and Z by Friday, and if I don't, then there's the threat that they might even be kicking me out the company, or I might not get the promotion I was thinking about. And they start to go into this really over-exaggerated state. So worst case scenario, what if you don't, what it doesn't happen? Well, I'm worried because there's somebody else in the office who's doing really well at the moment. If I don't get these 3 things done by Friday, then what's going to happen is that I might be looked over for promotion, and if I get promotion, I can't get that new income that I was looking for, which means that the house that I was looking to buy, I won't be able to get that. My wife or my husband will be furious. I can't take the kids. I've been promising them this new place that we're going to live in, and we were looking to go on holiday together. And we can't go on holiday together because if I don't get the promotion, I can't afford to pay for the holiday, although I could put it on a credit card, but then I won't have the money to pay it back, and it goes on and on and on. So don't see it any worse than it is. See it as it is, but not worse than it is. That's the first thing when it comes to stress. So whatever your situation right now is, take a deep breath, and in your mind, just look at it black and white. That's the first thing. Now, to help with that process, the second thing I would recommend that you do is this. Take a piece of paper or a journal and a pen, ideally a pen, not a pencil, and literally write down what the current situation is that you're in. What's causing you the stress? That's the thing to put on the top of the piece of paper. What is causing me stress right now? And list it out. I wouldn't even do a big description to start with. Just simply list out all the different things that you feel are causing you stress. It could be I'm getting a lot of pressure at work. I've got hassle going on at home with my kids and I can't seem to manage them very well. I've got challenges in my relationship. I'm not feeling very healthy. It might be to do with a situation with a member of your family, possibly an argument, a fallout. Maybe it's to do with your own personal health. I don't know. But when it comes to not seeing anything worse than it is and seeing it as it is, you've really got to get that picture down on paper. So this is about capturing it and putting it down on a piece of paper. Ideally, I like to do things in journals. And if it's at all possible, doing it with an ink pen so that it's actually there. The trouble with pencils is people can rub them out. So if you can do this in a way that you're just listing, it could be 6 things, it could be 15 things, it could be 20 things. I don't know what it is, but you're gonna have to put it on paper. Now, why do we do this exercise? What I've found working with people individually on a private level is that, let me just try and get the brightness back up again there. Often it's all up here and there's stress building up, and they're trying to juggle in their mind and place things. There was a very famous study done years ago, and it's often quoted, that the human brain can only really consciously process 7 things in its sphere of influence, and beyond that it gets very, very confused. In fact, you can really only focus on one thing. If I said to you, notice the tree behind me, if you look up there, you wouldn't even notice while you're noticing on the tree behind me. I don't know if you can see that there. Can you see on the tree behind me? You wouldn't even see necessarily consciously, you might have done, my hand doing that just for a bit of fun. So typically what happens is we get stressed by whatever's in front of us, and if there's several things in front of us, we start to flip between all of them, and of course then we feel overwhelmed, and that's the biggest challenge here with stress. It's due to overwhelm. So getting it on paper and writing it out gives you a chance to look at it and go, okay, so this is the situation as it stands. All right, so that's really important. So the second thing to do is capture it on paper and write it out as bullet points. I wouldn't even go into detail at this stage. I would simply bullet point them out. That's number 2. Do it now if you get a chance. Okay, so what is number 3? Okay, let's talk about number 3. Number 3 is now taking the time, and it does take a little bit of time to do this, is for each of those bullet points, write a quick description of it so you can see it and you're unloading it. Yes, you're venting it, you're getting out, like you're telling somebody, you're talking to somebody about it. And you get the description of that, ideally into a paragraph, really describing the key elements of it. Don't over embellish it, don't make it too fancy. Oh, I've just got to show you this. I don't know if you can see behind me. If I zoom in a little bit here. I couldn't resist this. Can you see the kangaroo there? Isn't it gorgeous, little kangaroo? Look, so here I am doing my video recording and there's a kangaroo just there. Right, let's get back to what I was saying. Okay, where was I? I've just been told by 2 lovely Australian ladies, actually it's not a kangaroo, it's a swamp wallaby. There you go, swamp wallaby. They're just a little bit bigger. I've got to bring my daughters down here, they're going to love it. All right, so you're thinking, keep going, Dr. O, keep going. What do I need to know? Right, so here's how it works. It's just shut off now. So when we're doing this, you need to do a clean description. Clean meaning remove any emotion from it. It needs to be a clinical, just a description. I need to do these 3 items by Friday. The current situation is that my boss has told me he wants me to do it because it's going to help with Project X, and the reason he wants me to do it more than anything else is because I need to prove myself, and he's also keen to support me in my promotion. Bang, could be that's the situation, blank statement, that's it. All right, it doesn't need to be any more. And if I don't, I'm going to get this, I'm not going to get the promotion, I'm not going to get the house, I'm not going to get the holidays, the promise I left to the kids and all those things. No, it's just a clean, blank description. All right, remember this is number 3. So you're going to do that for every single one of those items. Okay, so that is number 3. Do that as the next part. All right, very important. We'll get to the 4th takeaway in just a moment. Now, when you do this, it does need to be detailed, but it doesn't need to be so detailed that you get stressed about it. So just put in only the activities that you can influence and that you need to do, and nothing else. Just the things that you need to do in that situation, or if it's a situation that involves interacting with another human being, or a stressful situation with a member of your family, describe that and who needs to be involved in that particular situation. Okay, that is number 3. Okay, so what is number 4? I'm about to go down to the beach, so I need to finish this video off for you because I want to go see where those swamp wallabies left. Maybe they went off for a drink in the ocean. I doubt it because it's salt water. Number 4. We're dealing with stress, remember, and part of the challenge you have when you're dealing with stress is that most of the time you think you have to do everything yourself. So I'm going to give you 2 very important things to note here on number 4. What have we done so far? We haven't seen it worse than it is, better than it is. We're just simply clearly seeing it in our mind as it is. That's important. So we do that as an emotional exercise. Then we bullet point out the key things. So we list out just the things right now that are causing us the biggest cause of stress. What's on my mind? What do I believe is causing me the greatest stress? Number 3 is you're going to do a clean, clinical, detailed but not overly analytical description of the situation factually as it is. What you'll find when you do that process, you start to go, okay, so this is actually it. And in some cases you look at it and you go, actually this isn't quite as bad as I thought it was, or it might appear to be worse than it is. But most of the time, by capturing it on paper and doing this exercise, albeit it might take you half an hour or so to do, what you'll find is you go, right, okay, so what have I really been worrying about here? And you'll find your eyes gravitate to the areas that you think are causing you the most stress. So I'm going to suggest you do the following. You look at that list of items and your paragraphic descriptions, and I want you to number them in order of which ones are causing you the most stress at the moment. These birds seem a bit distressed above me. Might be me coming underneath. what is causing you the most stress? And then in that order, go to the one that is least stressful. And you're probably going to find there's 1 to 3 areas, or 1 to 3 activities, or 1 to 3 situations right now that are causing you the most distress. And they're the ones you're going to have to focus on, and that's a conversation for another video. But for now, I want you to do that. Now, having done that, we've really got to do something very, very important, and that's the following. First thing, remember on number 4 here, is having ordered them in a specific order. I'm going to wander back this way now towards the beach. Is I want you to write down who can you speak to that can be involved in helping you with this. Let me say that again. It's always a big who. That's one of the first things I ask anybody that's in a distress situation. I say to them, who can be involved? Who's one person you can speak to that can actually help with this particular situation? And a lot of the time you'll go, oh, I can speak to so-and-so, or I need to speak to X, Y, Z, or there's just one person that I need to speak to. In doing that, it's a chance to share the load, release some pressure, and the question then behind that is, what can you ask them to do? So who can be involved in this particular situation, and what can you ask them to do? And the third element, if you want to add one more to that, is, okay, what is the first thing you can do to move that situation forward to relieve some pressure? So let's go back to the situation with, I've got these 2 things to do or 3 things to do for Friday. Who needs to be involved? Well, 2 of these involve some market research, and that's where I was getting a bit distressed, because I thought, how can I do the research and get this written up as well? It's a 5-page or 6-page report that I've got to have done by Friday, and these 3 items, and 2 of those involve me doing research before I can even write the report. Okay, well, Sarah at work, she's a new graduate coming in from university, really good techie, very good smart woman when it comes to going out and doing research. I can ask her to do it. She's been asking me some work. Yeah, okay, I'm going to get Sarah to do that. If I contact her now, she can do that within the next 24 hours. So if Sarah does that, the question then is, what's the one activity you can do? And you sit down and go, well, the one thing I can do is I can start to structure the report and start to put in some of the key intro, outros and key content in there, and then I can bolt in her research into that. Yeah, okay, that feels a lot better. And that's really the process you've got to do to de-stress. Right, let me recap. So it's see it as it is, not worse than it is, not better than it is, just purely as it is. List out all the different things that you're currently involved with that are causing you distress. Simple list, boom, boom, boom. And make it short, not a long big description, just boom. A sentence, 1 line, even a word or 2 words, or a project name. Then you're going to, number 3 is you're going to describe it in detail, but not too detailed so you feel distressed about it. Factual, and that's it, non-emotional. And the 4th thing is, who can be involved to help you, or who can you talk to release some of the pressure that can give you some guidance? That's the other way to do it. And what can they do? And the 3rd thing is, what can you do? What's one activity you can do to start to move you towards de-stressing, but getting a result in that particular situation? Right, that's all I'm going to talk about for now. It's Dr. Rose signing out. Hopefully that was useful. I'm going to go see if I can find these bush wallabies and go to the beach. Take care. Stay distressed.